truly makes you unique, right? And I guess furthermore, you can say musical intellectualism. So, kind of getting into this space of really focusing and taking your time to say something, right? As musicians, we want to be artists. We want to take the music somewhere. You know, we learn all this information. We're learning all these licks and how to play over bebop changes and how to play over chords and scales that go with chords, all the stuff that's important. But at the end of the day, what's going to set your path or career as a musician is how you stand on your own. You know, what makes you unique? What are you going to say? What's the message? Where are you trying to go? So there's some things that I started thinking about and I came across through my musical endeavors this far. And to explain a little bit about myself, for undergrad, I went to Leland University in Warwick, and that was kind of my musical beginnings. I spent 5 years down there, and I was in school like you all are now, taking improv class and jazz band and all this stuff that was important. But for me, luckily, I was in a city that was very active in support of music, so I took advantage of that. And I came across a lot of mentors and local musicians who kind of took me under the wing and kind of put you in the fire, so to speak. The best way to learn is to get out there and just do it, to listen. And so as I was doing this, a lot of things started coming. I learned how to act on a bandstand. I learned how to use my ears, right? Think as musicians, like, oh yeah, it's obvious, we gotta use our ears. But some people, I've been in a lot of situations and it's like a one-man show. Nobody's listening to each other. The rhythm sections, I listen to the horn player and vice versa. So, in doing all that, it takes time, it takes focus. So this concept of development is really kind of, well, for one, it makes you, I guess we would say, makes you develop confidence, right? It makes you develop a sense of self, to be secure with yourself and who you are, and to be yourself, and to really take time to see what it is that you can contribute to the overall musical picture when you're on the bandstand. So that's the development part. The building part can come harmonically. You got different devices you use. You know, how you playing over the solo. Of course, you got to know chord changes, certain harmonic material. But there's an example I want to play real quick of a modern sax player named Mark Turner. And I don't know if some of you all heard of him. But this is a live recording of All the Things You Are they're playing. And I just want you to listen to it. I want you to think about everything that's going on. I want you to think about the 5 elements of music. All right, so melody, 3 obvious ones: melody, rhythm, harmony. And then the other 2 I'm thinking of is form, right? The structure of the tune, how you use the form to your advantage, and color. Color meaning like the timbre, the tone quality, the embellishments, the ornamentation, all this stuff that creates an atmosphere. So these are the 5 elements that are essential to, I would say, to any musician, but to a jazz musician especially, as being an improviser.
Very spaced out, at times.
Yep. So space, I mean, that's where that fits in here. Fits in pretty much almost all of these, but rhythm, melody, and harmony. Because it gives it a rhythmic value depending on how he uses the space, where it comes in, where he starts that space. Harmony has evolved according to the changes. You know, he started coming at the bridge in his first part of the solo. We made 15 measures came at the bridge. What else? Warmth, okay. Color, right? Tone quality. What did you hear?
Well, it started off very slow and then it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Started getting more busy.
Yep.
So development, yes.
Exactly. So you got the essentials of development. Anybody else? What about you?
He took mine.
It
started off like calm, then it kind of got more chaotic, which is cool.
Right. He got to a place. He assessed the information, right? He took his time to gather his ideas and made a message. So kind of what I'm getting at is a little more philosophical, but you do need the essentials of knowing how to play, right? Improvising with changes, all the stuff we're all learning now in school. But it all comes together, make a bigger picture. What about you two in the back? What did
or it was slightly different?
Well,
It kept going like scale wise.
he's talking about the rhythm.
Okay, yep.
There's like a lot of melodic contour and a lot of disjunct.
Yep.
You know, disjunct and conjunct and all that.
Yeah,
Like
nice.
melodically at least.
Yep. Awesome. Great observation. You want to say one more thing?
Yeah, I was watching like a Gary Burton, I think it was Gary Burton, he did a clinic somewhere, I think it was UMass. And he said a lot of times I've heard this too, but most of the time you hear people that talk about improvisation, they say, oh, you need to kind of like build kind of like a peak or a plateau or height of your solo. And he said, I don't really like that because that's kind of limiting to me. He said, I prefer to think of it more as tension and release.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I heard that, I noticed a lot of like my favorite players, they do that.
Yeah.
It's more tension release rather than up, and then
Yeah.
bring it down. And I noticed he does that a lot.
Yep. So yeah, you don't want to get into a systematic way of kind of playing. You know, like once again, the development is all supposed to be sincere, right? We're trying to be true to ourselves and honesty. If you want to go in there and just start to do it, you got something to say, then do it. But also, I think we owe it to ourselves to take time to really assess everything that's going on around us, how we're hearing the other instruments. It's a conversation, right? So, I think that's why he's one of my favorite players. But one thing he said in an interview, somebody asked him, Mark, how do you go about soloing? You know, kind of this crazy question to answer. And he said he envisions like a desert, just like nothing. And he's kind of building a civilization. So he's brick after brick, you got a store, you got a house, he's building. He envisions nothing in front of him, and he's in charge of building it. So you're using space, you're using what's around you, what you can use. It's an essential part of improvisation, right? Taught to me that I picked up in ways to kind of practice. Because as you practice, you want to be strict, right? So you get the concept. So, for instance, if you take a song like that one, that's a form of AABA, 8 measures to each, right? You break it down for the first 4, you just work with an idea. Whatever it can be. If you got something, you don't like it, work with it. Don't abandon it. Work with it, see where you can take it before it measures. The next 4, TC means through compose, meaning you play in not a rhythmic way. You establish the idea. You play more of a phrase. Next 4, we're at the second A, motive 2. Kind of based off of this motive, but now you try to take it somewhere else. It can be rhythmically, it can be harmonically, then through composed material. Then for the B, it's all straight through composed. Then in the 4, you kind of recap what you stated over here and bring it back. And then
that's pretty good.
He went to the advanced stage and he just started developing, right? He was already at developing. He had a lot of good ideas. You hear where it was going?
Yes.
It was, you start to gain a sort of conscious thing going on. But for the sake of one of the devices, motivic development, we want to focus more on the motives and this kind of scheme. You were straight development, which is good. I mean, that's the overall concept of what I'm trying to get at. too. But if somebody, let me see who else is up. Anybody else up for this challenge? What about you?
Sure.
And you had a lot of nice through composed material in the B section in particular. I didn't hear too much in terms of that scheme. But yeah, a lot of good ideas. How about everybody will just take one chorus, go around. And then over here, you haven't played, is that your instrument?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then anybody else back there play instrument?